Hello, Frugal friends. This is a recipe for healthy peanut butter cookies. And I think it's really frugal. It only has 4 ingredients. It calls for 1 cup of peanut butter and a teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to be using imitation vanilla. And a half cup of honey. The type of honey that I'm using is clover honey. And 1 cup of flour. I'm using unbleached all-purpose flour. And the first step is to combine all of the wet ingredients. So I'm starting with the peanut butter, and I'm just using a knife to get the peanut butter out of the cup. You can use a scraper as well, but I've found that knives work just as well in most situations, and knives don't wear out quite like scrapers do. And next is the honey, and I'm going to be using a similar method to get it out of the cup here. I'm far too impatient to let it just drip out of the cup. It just seems to take forever, so I highly recommend a knife or a scraper for this step. And this is the vanilla. And we're just going to mix together these ingredients until they're combined. And the last ingredient is the flour. And I generally just keep on mixing until I can't see any of the flour in the bowl. I don't see any reason to go any further. Just make sure everything is combined. And you might need to scrape off some of the dough from the spoon that you're stirring with, just to make sure you get all the dough combined into the mixture. And the next step is to turn on the oven. So turn on the oven to 350 degrees, and then start preparing your baking pan. What I'm using is a cast iron baking pan, and you can put down some parchment paper, or you can just put some oil on their pan. I think the parchment paper may work better, but I found it seems kind of wasteful for me, because you just use the parchment paper once and then you got to just throw it out. So I prefer just to use a little bit of oil when preparing my pan. And now we're ready to start putting the cookies onto the pan. And you can use a spoon or a cookie baller, but I like just using my hands and just kind of rolling them into balls. And for this recipe, I decided to try it using two methods. So the first method, I thought I would just roll them into balls and just see how long they took to cook and see what kind of cookies they produce, just having a ball structure. So this is the first method that I'm using for this recipe. Okay, now they are ready to go in the oven. For this method using the ball structure, I'm cooking them for about 17 minutes. And here's what they look like fresh out of the oven. They are browned or lightly browned, which is what I'm looking for. But the outside looks a little bit cracked, so that's kind of what you get with the ball method. But here is the second method. And for this second method, I'm just rolling the dough into balls as before. But I'm also going, for this particular batch, I'm going to press the cookies down with a fork and do a crisscross pattern, which is the more traditional way of doing peanut butter cookies. And here they are done, and they do not crack at the top like the other method does. And the cookies with the crisscross pattern, they only took about 12 minutes. And just to show you guys exactly, I think, why people don't put them into ball shapes is they are very delicate. They fall apart really easy, and most of them are cracked on the top. But the crisscross pattern, they are a lot more sturdy and they're not cracked. So definitely there is a really good reason to press down your cookies and do that little crisscross pattern. But they will all be very yummy and delicious. And I really like this recipe because it uses honey instead of sugar. I think the honey just gives it a really nice, sweet, subtle kind of flavor to them. And I just love this recipe. It's very budget friendly and easy to make.